Lorrie and Todd with It's a Great Day for Business Atlanta, and I am here with the lovely Bernadette Bose. How are you this morning?
I'm great, Lorrie. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Now you're going to have a couple of minutes to tell us all about what you do at Wildfire Inc. And then I'd like you to touch a little bit on shedding the corporate bitch.
Okay.
But when we talked earlier, I mentioned I really want to get to the passion of how you came about it.
Sure.
So I'm going to turn the floor over to you, my dear.
Okay.
Tell us. So we're going to start the conversation off by how did you take charge of your business and your life?
Wow, that's a loaded question, but it started about 4 years ago in the middle of a parking lot. I was standing there with a pink slip in my hand from a company that I had been with for 12 years and a career I had with for almost 30. And I thought to myself, what the devil just happened? And yet, at the same time, I was the happiest woman that ever stood on this earth.
Why?
Because all of a sudden, the minute I was told I was losing my job, I didn't even let them finish. I packed up my belongings, went to my office, cleaned it out, walked outside, and I just went, I am never doing that to myself again. I looked back at the building literally and just said, I am never doing that. And yet I didn't know what that was at the time, but all I remember is getting in my car, driving down 85, and giggling and laughing the whole way. And I told my family and friends immediately, I was not going back to corporate, I was not doing that, and they thought I literally had like an embolism or something.
And lost your mind.
And lost my mind, because here I was walking away from, I was a global vice president, I had a big office, international travel, big salary, and I was committed that no matter what, I'd go broke before I put myself through that again.
So what steps did you take? What was the first step you took?
Well, the first step actually that I took is, as much as I knew that I needed to find out and discover what that was all about, like why was I so happy, I went and I did start my first entrepreneurial business, which was the Bose Group, which is a business consulting practice, now called Wildfire Consulting. And so I help individuals, small businesses, to really kind of put the processes in place, put the culture in place in order for them to grow. So I help anyone that can start, manage, and grow a business. But yet, I started digging. I started really soul searching why I was so happy and why I literally felt like I lost, 1,000 pounds. Off my shoulders, out of my heart, everywhere. And I was jogging through the park one day, and I literally collapsed to the ground because it came to me that for close to 25 years, I was living and breathing bitch all over the place. And it was a conscious decision in my early 20s that I felt that in order to succeed in business, because I was a junior executive at a very early age in my early 20s, that I had to be nasty because everything around me, women in business, was nasty.
I think that is like contagious in some corporate structures, isn't it?
I think it's contagious in corporate structures as well as in mindsets that aren't secure enough to go after it being themselves. Nasty person, and I thought to myself, how am I going to apologize to 25 years of individuals that I've hurt? Because I just wasn't like a pain in the neck. I just wasn't, somebody who was demanding or a perfectionist. I was downright cruel. And so I thought to myself, okay, so what do I do? And someone suggested I write a book. And I said, that's interesting. I could write a book, print off 100 copies, send it out to people that I know that I was really, really over the top with, and be done with it. And so in that conversation, she had said to me, well, why are you getting so emotional about this? And I said, because I shedded the corporate bitch inside me, and now I'm not that person anymore. And she went, that's the book. And I was like, what is? She goes, shedding the corporate bitch. So what was interesting about that, and it brings me to what I do now, is what was interesting about that is many of us don't really spend time digging deep as to who we really truly are and why we have certain feelings, and because we're afraid to. We don't want to face ourselves in the mirror. During my writing process, I discovered that there was lessons and experiences and situations in my life that caused me to take on feelings of insecurity, unworthiness, not feeling loved or fitting in, that caused me then to lash out in these negative ways. So what I learned is that all of those fears and doubts and insecurities is what I realized were bitches. So when I have this book called Shedding the Corporate Bitch, and some people look at it and get offended,
Right.
what they don't know is, what I'm saying is, it's not about somebody else. It's about your own, if you're lashing out on somebody, it's your issues that you have to deal with. That, you know, the only reason why people lash out or take out on other people is because they've got junk in their heart and head that are causing them to act that way. And that's what I kind of had to admit to myself is, oh my God, anybody that would look at me would think I'm the most secure, confident, you know, self-assured woman. And yet I was dealing with all this stuff. So Shedding the Corporate Bitch then began to relate to so many people in that they would come to me and say, Bernadette, I understand your story, I relate to it, but not with business. I relate to it with dealing with cancer, or going through menopause, or divorce, or coming out of the closet, and 72 other topics that now we address through Shedding the Bitch, the brand. And that's where Ball of Fire, or the Bose Group, kind of grew into Ball of Fire Inc., and now is entertainment, media, publishing, and the business management consulting piece of their own stories. We can help them with support and resources and tools and advice to help them not do what I did to myself. Because I spent 25 years living in that angst.
Yes.
And I don't want to see other men or women do the same to themselves.
Well, I think that's a lot of the reasons, in my perspective, that businesses have problems succeeding. Is they keep, they're sabotaging themselves by not following through because they don't think they're worthy, or they don't think they're deserving of that particular contract or this particular client. So I think that's very important to address. The other thing I like, what would be the top 5 things that you would advise entrepreneurs to add to their daily/weekly list? Things that they have to do that cannot be put off till tomorrow.
Well, I'll send you through my day.
Okay.
And that'll give you an idea, because I do this every day with my own clients and myself. Is first off, before I even step off the bed, the alarm goes off, and of course I'm like the A-type personality, so typically the alarm goes off, I'm in the shower, I'm downing my breakfast, and I'm out the door. Well, in the past 3 years, I've really have taught myself that before I even jump out of bed, I kind of do an assessment. It's quick, but I kind of do assessment. Okay, so what am I feeling like? What am I thinking like? What am I, what's got my innards, going, good or bad?
Yes.
And I kind of do an assessment to kind of say, okay, I have the opportunity now to influence that when I get off this bed, if I'm in a tired mood or a nasty mood or an anxious mood or a happy mood, I can adjust it to work, really kind of be aware of your presence at all times, because everyone else is aware of it. And yet you might
sales call when you're feeling like this is just not the day for it.
Oh God, no. Or I do a lot of affirmations in my head. If I'm like, driving to a sales call and I don't feel real confident, and I don't feel like I'm going to be on.
You're right.
All the way, I'll just sit there and say to myself, okay, if God's for me, who could be against me? And I'll say, I love you to myself. I'll say, I'm going to win this deal. Whatever it is that you might come up with for yourself. So that would be the second tip. Is have a kind of a wallet full of little cards of affirmations, prayers, statements, something that, people make fun of people that look in the mirror before they go out on a hot date and they talk to themselves.
I look good.
I do it all the time, Put a camera in my house and you'll think that I just went off the wall.
Right.
But it's just important, because what I've discovered through this whole process and through the last few years, and now I travel the country, actually the world, and I talk to men and women alike, the mind has such power over us, and yet we don't pay attention to how much. And the fact that we allow our negative thoughts and belief systems and fears and doubts to hold us back from doing what we really want to do is just sad. It's just sad and pathetic. And when I found that book, that knot in my chest that I felt for 25 years just dissipated. And in a year and a half since I've been doing this, I now went from that book to having a licensable brand that's now attracting licensees, TV, radio, film opportunities. Only because I found what was really core and passionate in my heart and soul. And now I won't let anything stop me from doing it.
The person that you
Oh, I used to.
By any stretch.
I used to.
Who empowered you? when you started moving forward towards Ball of Fire Inc., you had to have somebody in your back corner, you know.
We don't have enough time.
Around, I mean, you know, who is the person that you attribute the most to your change in mindset?
Other than God.
Other than God.
Not to say that I sound
Yes,
preachy,
yes.
because trust me, 3 years ago, you wouldn't have gotten me to kind of whisper outside my own self that I, you know, go to church and,
Right.
you know, I'm faith-based and whatnot. But I couldn't have done it without all that.
Right.
But then it would be, I would say, my family. I have a core, unbelievable family. And then I am very resourceful. I am not the type of person who, as strong-headed as I am, I know I don't know everything.
Right.
And thank God for that, because I am very good at connecting people and bringing people into my team and into the fold. So I immediately went out. I've had a board of advisors. I've had a capital team, because we raise money for the Shedding the Bitch brand. And I built a team up. I have a team of 22 people, of which I only paid 2. So you can ask me about that later if you want to.
We definitely will.
Yeah, because people believed in what I was doing and they wanted to be part of it. They wanted to help me. So I just look for people. I have a business coach that I meet with every Friday. We were talking about that earlier. Every Friday afternoon, Joan Curtis. Shout out for Joan. TotalCommunicationsCoach.com. And but those people are core, because I need advice. I need someone to challenge me. I need someone to kind of keep me on track. And I've never, since I probably have had a mentor since I was 3, I can remember my first mentor.
Right.
And I advise it for anybody. Pay them, don't pay them, be a professional, not be a professional. Get somebody in your corner that's going to hold you accountable and keep you on track to what it is you're trying to accomplish.
And you can accomplish that in many different ways, again, without paying. Affiliations with other organizations. Part of what we do here at It's a Great Day for Business Atlanta. We surround ourselves with good core people.
Absolutely.
Everybody brings their piece to the table, and as I like to say, together we make a whole person.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
amaze everybody.
Yes, it does.
Tell us about your website.
Well, the main website is sheddingthebitch.com, and that you can find tons of tips and resources and videos and radio program episodes. You can find experts. If you do need help in a certain area, we're starting to build that up. We have what we call our niche forums, which you can go out and start a dialogue around whatever bitch you're dealing with, whatever that fear, insecurity, or doubt, or negative mindset is. We have bitch events, bitch parties, we call them. And those are opportunities, I call them like AA meetings where you can drink.
Okay.
So they're like support meetings. And networking and collaboration and social, but at the same time we dig deep and try to help start to uncover, the junk.
Is that open to boys and girls?
Oh, well,
Cats
it's
and
really
dogs?
funny. It's absolutely open to men and women, because I have about 65% of my database is men as a result of this program. And that is for multiple reasons, I'm guessing.
Birthday gifts.
Yeah. Well, no, it's interesting, because men want to, they want to understand what goes on, in a woman's head that causes them to be that way. A lot of male managers. I've had CEOs all the way down to just a manager who wanted to buy it to understand why someone in their team is acting out. At the same time, men deal with it too. They just don't have a really kind of provocative way to be able to study up on it without it saying something about, heal yourself and whatnot. So the brand is strong enough for a male or a female. And then so sheddingthebitch.com is where they can find out about our parties and our events and our radio shows and our programs and all the resources that we have.
And what do you talk about on your radio shows? What is your core topic? If you
It basically anything that has to do with helping men or women in business and in life take control of it, and kind of, because what I believe in the whole thing about Shedding the Bitch is we challenge the paradigm that all you need are skills and talent.
Bernadette, that is a great place to leave this for today. Thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
showing up and sharing Shedding the Corporate Bitch with us, Ball of Fire Inc. Be sure to check her out.